and welcome back to our program. You're watching Morning Thailand with Tulip and Golf. And of course, now back to politics. Like I have mentioned, the Prime Minister, of course, made her announcement yesterday at about 8:45, 8:48 a.m. in the morning. And it was obviously broadcasted live everywhere. And well, by that time, like you have mentioned in the show before, a lot of the demonstrators has already formed the lines, getting ready to move to the government house.
They're already out on the street.
Exactly. So that was kind of like, the anti-climax a little bit. If you were watching a movie, you're kind of like, oh, which has been done before with the whole opening up of the police headquarters as well as the, the parliament, the government house. But what I like about it is that it's very peaceful at this point. It has nothing violence has happened yet. However, from the Prime Minister's announcement, she was actually at the press conference. They say that a lot of people has noticed, and of course, along with the Thai citizens as well, that the Prime Minister was actually. She was quite emotional when she was actually reading this particular statement. Now, they say that it was a long discussion the night before, so she didn't really get that much of a rest. And they say that they decided to, or everyone decided to dissolve the House for the following reasons. These are the reasons she gave. She said that the House dissolution is actually quite normal in democratic system because many countries has done it before. And in Thailand, we have done it many times, like in 1996, 2000, 2006, as well as 2011. And she has mentioned all the works that this government has been done since August 23rd of 2011. Many important things has been done. For example, in terms of floods that the country was facing back in 2011, as well as several of the economic crises. But then the government was able to steer through all of it. And they say that political conflicts still continue, even though the government has been trying very best to present all the solution. For example, like amending the charter, launching political reform forums, as well as public referendums. Although some of the group rejected the solutions, the government was ready to take up their opinion, but they resorted to holding street protests. So the government has managed the protests with in the conciliatory and amicable manner with respect to the protesters' basic rights, and the government did not want to see any loss of life. And the third reason is that the government does not wish to see any political conflict escalate into national division and violence. So returning the power to the people by dissolving the House and calling general election is for the government is democratic and acceptable way to do. So at this point, she requested that let all the majority people decide the direction how the country would be run. And the government would also like to invite all the political parties with differing opinions to present their solutions to the people through election campaigns. And once the House is dissolved, this is a key point. Cabinet is automatically removed from its post, but will continue to carry out its duty until the new cabinet is appointed. So technically, she will be the interim prime minister still, as the acting prime minister. Now, after that, of course, there were several people that has came out and talked about this. One of the supporters, obviously, would be the ruling Pheu Thai party. At this point, all the Pheu Thai party member has already talked about the fact that they are backing up the prime minister's request, and they think that this is the best way to go. Now, for example, and this is Kun Charapong Rungsuwan, not Charapong, excuse me, Surapong Towichak Chaikun, excuse me, the foreign minister, of course, and he was actually in charge of Capo as well, and has to announce this particular announcement. The announcement was requesting all the demonstrators to pretty much go home.
Right.
Like, please return home, it has been dissolved already, you have made your point and such, but Well, that didn't really happen. A lot of people
You
carry
wish it
on.
would be that easy.
Exactly, but it was too late in time. A lot of people say that, and of course, Tule will elaborate. However, they say that at this point, the proposed new election date will be February the 2nd at this point. And this is obviously after the Prime Minister's dissolved the House already. And they say that spokesman Tirat Ratanasewi told the Associated Press, which is one of the foreign press, saying that the date proposed was during the cabinet meeting, and they say that the election commission must formally approve the date first.
I think it's already official at the end of yesterday after it was published in the Royal Gazette.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yes, sorry, it came out already, right?
Yes.
So
very late last night. It's get to the point that people think is the House really dissolved.
yeah, that was one of the thing as well that a lot of people criticize, like in the social media, the
Right.
Prime Minister got blamed a lot. A lot of people say, "Oh my God, it's one of her tricks."
Right.
That she was just saying it, but she's not going to do it. And then when later on it came out, everybody's kind of like, everybody's kind of like, oh, okay. And that's one of the things I think that the social media give you a lot of interesting information,
Yes.
but sometimes it come in, a little bit too early.
Yes.
So be very, very careful of what you listen to. All right.
I think it kind of shows get to the point that no one really trusts anyone.
That's true.
Even when the government said that she will dissolve the House, people still don't believe her until they really say it's published in Royal Gazette.
Now, of course, one of the things yesterday too that I reported was that the foreign minister has already invited all the diplomats as well as representatives from many countries. Well, apparently they had to call that off, the touring of the government house.
Reportedly, there was 20 ambassadors that attend the meeting, and 4 of those willing to take a tour.
France and Norway was one of them. And hey, sorry, you cannot get, because they say that you cannot get into the government house.
Right.
Which is not a surprise thing. I don't know what they were thinking about when they actually invited these people.
They said they canceled it because the protesters arrived at the government house before the
Too early?
Before the time.
The estimated time?
Yes,
or
the estimated
the
time. Because Suthep Thaugsuban announced that they will leave the government complex at 9:39, right? But actually there were 9 routes together, so
That's
some
true.
of them arrived at the government house
Well, the one at
early.
the Ratchadamnern is very close.
Very
so
close.
It's not going to take that long.
So, and some people just go straight there from their house.
Oh, nice.
So people there
you don't have to walk.
super early, and of course they didn't get into the government house, but they did block all the gates and don't let people out. Even though before that they also order from Metropole to not let anyone in and out also. So by the time they arrive to by the time that the press conference at the Foreign Affairs Ministry ended and there was about to take a tour, the protesters already arrived at the government house, so they have to cancel the tour altogether.
Why do we?
Because they cannot get in.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, do we need that tour? Really?
I don't think we do, but at the end of the day, there were 4 ambassadors that agreed to take a tour. So I guess it's become an interesting point for a lot of people
Yeah,
just
for sure.
to check out the area. So yesterday, at the beginning of the day, CAPO, or Center for the Administration of Peace and Order, at early morning, they give an estimation of number of people for only 30,000. And at the middle of the day, it's getting up to 98,000 something people. And late afternoon, they said 150,000. But at the end of yesterday, finally, they report that the total of the protesters yesterday, they said it's up to 250,000 people. A lot of people might argue that they see more. They think it's a lot more than 250,000 people, but that's the official estimation.
Yeah, I think
That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. So it was 9 routes altogether. Of course, the Bangkok traffic was paralyzed as promised by the protesters yesterday. So you see a lot of people take public transportation. So the longest route was led by Suthep Thaugsuban from government complex. It was 20 kilometers and they took about 7 hours to arrive.
That's a long walk.
Yes, they took lunch. They just stopped by and took lunch at the Victory Monument. And they arrived at the government house about 4 p.m. at Panichiakan intersection or some Chamai Maruchet bridge, and they set up some kind of stage there. But at the end of the day, at 5 p.m., Suthep Thaugsuban used the stage at Nang Leung Stadium. Not in the stadium, but there was a protest gathered in front of the Nang Leung Stadium to make a speech. And this actually an official first statement by the People's Democratic Reform Committee or PDRC, and he claimed that this is the People Revolution, and that was the first statement, and he announced 6 bullet points. It's pretty much similar to what he had said before on the stage, that how PDRC think that this government is out of its righteousness and is unconstitutional and such. So it's pretty much not that much different, and I guess a lot of people was kind of wait what next. And he was saying the statement will be long, but it's actually, I would say it's only half an hour, which is shorter than his normal speech. And after that, Surapong Towichak Chaikun, as the head of Kapo, came out on TV Pool and said that what Suthep has done, he is violating Article 113 again. Before we go to that, there is arrest warrant coming out for Suthep Thaugsuban for violation of 113 for insurrection charge. And before and yesterday in the afternoon, the criminal court actually reject the arrest warrants for another, I believe, 13 core leaders of the demonstrators for the same charge, because the court said the situation is getting better.
Right.
So it's insufficient cause for the insurrection charge arrest warrant. So right now, Suthep Thaugsuban is the only one that have the arrest warrant out for him. So Surapong Towichak Chaijun just came out and said, you violate that law again. So yesterday, reportedly at about 10:30 p.m., Suthep Thaugsuban came out again. He actually mentioned the Constitution, Article 3, that all power now residing originally in the people, and they now will get the sovereignty back from the government. And he has asked the Prime Minister and the government to resign from interim government within 24 hours. He said that the people doesn't want Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra as an interim Prime Minister and doesn't want this government as a caretaker government. And he has asked the protester to bear with him for another couple of days. So I guess at the end of the day, what they want is actually, right now, Prime Minister dissolve the House is part of the demand they asked before.
But it's just not all.
It's not all.
Yeah.
They don't want this government or Pheu Thai party to be caretaker government.
Yesterday, Dr. Seri Wongmuntha, one of the key people that always get up on a stage, he mentioned one thing. He said that there's 2 words. There's battles and there's war. And he said that this time they won several battles already, but they have not yet won the war. That was his speech last night. And it was quite interesting that at this point, it's become a battlefield already. It's almost like showing a struggle between the people.
There's a lot of things going on yesterday. Every time that any side going to make official announcement, everybody would just have their ears out and not sure what's going to happen.
That's why I said, like, everybody is wrapped up in politics. And, you know, even our show, I mean, you got to admit it, all the news on the front pages, it's just channel toward politics, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of you probably would like to know a little bit more about that as well. Now we're going to take a short break, but of course we're going to have to listen from the supporters of the government as well. Apparently yesterday, today was supposed to be a big meeting of the Rake Church. Well, they called that off already, and I think there's a concern from the private sector.
Yesterday there was a meeting between 7 private sectors altogether.
So please come back, and then we'll give you more updates on those.